impromptu attempt to record something through a new piece of software, which I hope I'll be able to use to record webinars going forwards. It's been recommended to me, and we'll see how we get on. This evening's broadcast is sponsored by Margaret River Shiraz, so that should help to lubricate the larynx. Cheers. And we should crack on, really, shouldn't we? Okay, let's start by talking about today's horses. So in the little video that I recorded this morning, I'll take these off a minute. I I suggested a couple of horses that were interesting and made me value at the prices they were. The first of them was Lungano Palace, who was sent off at 14 to 1. He was available at bigger prices than that earlier. He ran like a bigger priced horse than that. He never really got into a rhythm, was held up, and never made any ground, and finished 12th in the end at 14 to 1. The other horse, Magic Dancer, um, he was also too far back in his race, but then he got hampered when trying to make up ground. The winner won easily, and the second was clear of the third. So no real excuses there. Though I think if you bet each way 4 places, you probably would have a right to feel aggrieved. But in 17 runner handicaps these days, many of us are betting with extra places, and that was a good outcome for us because he finished fifth of 17 in the end, never nearer. So a little each way return, made a profit on that bet. The other thing to say about that was he was 8 and 9 to 1 in the morning, and he ended up going off at 5 to 1. So again, in both cases, the horses have truncated quite a bit in price, and the game over the long term is to beat the market. The market is the best barometer of a horse's chance. If you can consistently get a better price about a horse than the odds it's sent off at, than its starting price, you have a very, very good chance to end up in front over the long term. So that's something to always keep in mind. How are you doing in terms of beating the market? Okay, specs on. Let's have a look at another thing that I mentioned this morning, and now this is going to be the first tech disaster, most likely. Um, I am going to try to pivot from my ugly mug to the screen, and I suspect this could end in disaster. Let's try. Oh, look, we've got both. Let me see if that works. If I can do that the other way around. There we go. Now we're in business. Okay. No, I just need to find that tab. It's actually the wrong tab. Please do bear with me here. Screen. What do I want to get? Chorico Vallis. Yeah, okay. So we will go to. We try this one. Maybe that's the one. There we are. Yeah. So hopefully you can see that. It's not not. Hold on a minute. You can't see that. Hopefully you can see it now. It's not terribly exciting, I have to say, but this is an example of a excuse me, an example of a horse that I backed a couple of days ago on the basis of a going change, and this horse ended up going off at 9 to 2, joint favourite. In actual fact, it drifted out to 10 to 1, which it's a JP horse. I thought that was kind of remarkable and suspected that it had no chance. But the thing about this chap, and again, I've got to try to do the tech here, so bear with me. The thing about this chap is that he was a soft ground specialist. Let's go. Oh, yeah, we go here. Okay. Share that. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. Right, Yep. So obviously I will get slicker at this as time passes. He was a soft ground specialist. Now, if I'm on the right day, and I am, we where was he? There he is, Chirico Vallis at 310. Right, so let's just have a quick look at the result here. Um, Pretty cumbersome this. I'm going to have to find a better way of doing this. Right, okay. Show in stream. There we go. Let's do that again. Okay, so now we have finally got what I'm trying to show. Right, so Chirico Vallis won here. The official going was good to soft, having been good in the morning. It absolutely poured down all morning, and I live in sort of the southeast of England, in Hackney in London, and I was checking the weather radar because we had a runner earlier on the card, and it was very wet. So what I did first thing was I changed the going on the menu card to soft, and that reflected in all the tools that I had. So essentially, when I came to Instant Expert, um, it was showing soft ground form, and you can immediately see there's one chap in this race with a soft ground profile, and that is Chirico Vallis. So I backed him on that basis because I knew that a number of horses that were declared on faster ground probably wouldn't appreciate the slower ground. So that was the punt. He was 11 to 2, is worth a go, and yeah, he won. That was good. In the 345, there were a few more contenders, but I liked this line of green profile for Waves. Let's see if we can get this to work. This computer that I'm recording this on is a bit old and rickety. Um, he's at the bottom and I want him to be at the top. There we go. Right, so Waikiki Waves had a very strong profile against the conditions. Now, as you can see, it's actually a very competitive race. Lots of green means lots of horses that are suited to conditions. I went with Waikiki. He finished fourth, so that was a fair run. And then in the 423, I'll just check you can still see this. Yes, you can. Marvelous. Now, the actual going was, well, what I typed in was soft. So you can again see where I was going with this. Good news, and indeed it was good news, as under an inspired Rex Dingle, Gigi sponsored jockey, Lydia Richards, course specialist, good news with two wins here over this trip, 2 mile 6 furlong trip, you can see there. Managed to get the hat trick over the course and distance and on softish ground. So, and that was a 10 to 1. And again, you know, I'm not being especially clever here. There's loads of horses who hadn't run on it. There's only one that had shown that it could handle soft ground, and had ticks in a bunch of other boxes as well. So these horses advertise themselves every day, and they're normally about the right price because they're priced up against known conditions. In actual fact, this horse went off at 10 to 1, whereas I thought it would shorten a good bit more because it was reverting to a soft ground environment, which would suit it and wouldn't suit it, or was an unknown for a bunch of other horses in the race. So, you know, you haven't got to be a genius to find this 10 to 1 winner, or that 9 to 2 winner, or the 4 to 1 that ran well. And I did say I'd show some of the tickets. Now it's going to be a bit clunky, but I'll give it a lash. So bear with me while I do this. What I think I'm going to do, I'm just going to go. Let me see if this will work. It might, and it might not. All right, looks like it might. Okay, so let's have a look at. No, we don't want that one. This is one of them. So a couple of losers today. Actually, yesterday. Um, oh, that wasn't what I wanted to show you. Yeah, Sky Bet. Here we go. So here's the Magic Dancer bet. Um, just a, I backed it at 17 to 2, 8.5 to 1, 6 places. One thing to note about Sky Bet actually is that they uh, they are currently when they're offering extra play. Well, they're not best odds guaranteed until 10 in the morning on the day of racing, but when they're offering extra places, they are not best odds guaranteed at all. So you need to be confident that if your if your horse is going to drift, it's not going to drift by much. Otherwise, you're going to be out of pocket. Um, so that's something to keep in mind. But equally, they are offering extra places on more races. Again, you've got to do the maths on whether a fifth the odds 6 places is better than a quarter 4 places, and it is basically almost always. Certainly in this case it was. So that was that. Here's the good news bet. Just little bets. These are. I mean, staking is a very personal thing, and some people bet in hundreds, some people bet in 50p's, and it really doesn't matter. Everything is relative to the way you play. I am not really getting involved with the jumps yet. It's still very early and still finding our feet. So I'm just mucking about a bit, but having fun while I'm doing it. And that is, I will never tire of labouring that point. The whole thing about betting on racing is that it should be fun. It's got to be fun. And I think Gigi's Gold helps to do that. So there's good news. And I did a little each way double as well. If Waikiki had won, it would have paid, um, what was it, a fiver each way. So it would have been 55 times 7. It would have paid about 400 quid for the double. So good little fun bet and a little bit on Waikiki there as well. So that was that. That's really only because I said that I would share that earlier. It's not a massive amount of value for you in that, I don't think. Okay, what else have we got? Tomorrow. Let's have a look at a couple of races tomorrow. And I'm going to start with an angle that I love. And if I hadn't just closed that window down, I might just open it back up again. I want to tell you about an angle that I love. See, I'm getting slicker at this already. It's all relative, of course. An angle that I love. I don't need that one. Yeah, this one. So here's a bet that I had the other day, which was John Kirkup was a this was a 5 furlong race around a turn at Pontefract, and he figured to get a prominent position from a good inside draw, and he won. I backed him at whatever price that is, at 5 to 1, um, and he won at 11 to 4, and it was kind of point and shoot stuff, so that was good. This one here, Dark Side Dream, same principle, turning track, sprint handicap. This one only placed, so it's kind of a money back job, plus a little bit, stake 40, return 48. So just a couple of bets there that I wanted to flag. This bet was Lungano. You see, I backed it 24 and it went off 14. So again, you've got to try and beat the market. This was another, actually, this was a 5 furlong turning, a speed ball, inside drawn speed ball play, and he missed the kick. He's led in, I think, 15 of his last 18 runs, and he missed the break, and the horse inside him um, veered straight across him, and that was it. Game over after literally 2 strides. So that's the chance you take with this kind of bet. But I do want to show you a couple that fit that bill tomorrow. So let's go to the race cards. Finally, it's only been about 45 minutes. Um, and we'll look at Saturday's racing. Just let me show you the filters so I can show you what I'm going to do. I'm basically interested in, I'm always interested in 5 furlong sprint handicaps. So I just changed the distance range in the filters and put on handicap only. And I've got 3 races here. Now, I happen to know that Doncaster's, or Doncaster, depending on where you are in the country, the 5 furlongs there is a straight 5. Chelmo, the Chelmsford Speedway, it is a turning 5. and these are very exciting 0 to 55 handicaps. If you don't love this stuff, you're doing it wrong. This is to me very engaging. Right, I'm glad I checked this because I you can't actually see what I'm talking about. Yeah, there we go. Right, let's try that again. Okay, so hopefully you can now see this. Um, yes, you can. Okay, awesome. Right, so this is a 5 furlong class 6 0 to 55 basement type handicap. And we've got you can see in this 0 to 55, we've got a horse rated 60 at the top. He's not rated 60, he's got a £6 or £7 penalty for his most recent run. He's running back under a penalty within 7 days. So he won by a length and a quarter last time. Is this ostensibly well handicapped? They want to get him out in this low grade again before he gets reassessed. He's got trap 9, and he's been winning at. Sorry, I should have shown you that he's been winning at Wolverhampton, which would be a slightly. I mean, it's still a speed track. All of these turning 5 furlongs on the all weather, so that's Wolverhampton, Chelmsford, Kempton, and um, not so much at Dundalk now. Southwell is a straight 5, Newcastle is a straight 5. Anyway, all the turning 5s, they do tend to favour front end speed just because it's very difficult for the horses behind to accelerate around a turn. Also, they've probably got to go around runners, which means they've got to travel further. I mean, these are simple laws of physics at play here. There's not, again, when you actually think about it for a minute, it's very logical, and I'm always looking for a turning 5 to bet. Um, One of the interesting things, which I will showcase momentarily when we look at the pace tab here, is that I'm not necessarily looking for an inside draw. Now, on the pace tab, we've got the blobs at the top that tell you um, what I've just been telling you, that horses that led in similar races to these have won at nearly 1 in 4. The impact value means how often they win compared to their peer group. They win more than 2.5 times as often as other run styles. They are profitable to a level stake. You still have to identify the horse that's going to lead, excuse me. And therein lies the challenge. And sometimes it's fairly obvious who is likely to lead. Often it's less clear. Now, if I put this on the graphic view, actually, I'll leave it on the data so I can explain this. 4 is led, 3 is track leaders or chase leaders or close up, 2 is midfield, 1 is rear. U is we couldn't really, it was difficult to score it. So this one switched right, switched right, soon towards near side, midfield halfway. Yeah, that's fine, but where was the horse in the early part of the race? The comment doesn't tell us, so we can't score it. Um, so that's how we do that. Let's put it on the graphic view. Hopefully this will work on this clunky old box. And I'm going to sort by draw as well, so we can kind of get a view of the positional, the pace positions. And we can see that stall 1, my kind of sunshine, could well be forward. In trap 1, he's obviously got the least distance to travel because he's closest to the rail. So that's definitely supportive of his case, form credentials notwithstanding. The other one, the obvious one, is this chap out here, Sassy Lassie, this lady out here, I presume. 40 to 1, interesting. I mean, this is it's a terrible race. It's a 0 to 55. If I put the heat map on, this overlays the pace, the optimal pace, onto the draw as well. And what we can see here is that it doesn't really matter where you're drawn. It only matters that the favoured run style is positional in terms of forwards to backwards rather than left to right, if you see what I mean. This lady in trap 12, now she will have to break, and I did have a quick look at this earlier, so I just want to just want to show you a little bit about Sassy Lassie, 40 to 1. Um, she's not had a million goes. She's a 3-year-old, so she's probably got a bit more scope than some of these. I mean, Captain Ryan is what he is. Likewise, the 6-year-old Leo Minor. These have all had plenty of goes. Sassy had 3 spins in novice and maiden races, got a mark of 45. Has never done anything really to exceed that. An advantage on first time with a tongue tie. So if she has improved for the tongue tie, then um, it wouldn't be unreasonable to expect her to step forward just a half step again for the second application of the tongue tie. This track, she was prominent here at Wolverhampton. This track would be, and she led the previous 2 times and obviously didn't get home, um, beaten miles. This was 7 furlongs on a straight track, which would be, a real stiff test for a horse that can't breathe, ostensibly. Now, I'm not. Please understand me. I'm not getting madly excited about this filly. She is 40 to 1 for a reason. She's got basically no form. But this run last time was definitely better, and it was over 5 furlongs. And if we look at this other 5 furlong run, that was relatively better as well. Tongue tie here, second time tongue tie, drawn to potentially be very close to the pace at the turn. Um, Jockey takes 7 off. I mean, it might make a difference on a 3-year-old filly. For a pound each way or 10p each way, depending on how you bet, we might get a run for our money from Sassy Lassie. And just on the pace angle, um, she she's worth a very, very small go just for fun. Now, there are 2 divisions of this handicap. The other one is at 5:15, and about half an hour later, plus a couple of minutes. Obviously, the same data in terms of the historical run style advantage, same data in terms of the draw pace advantage. And we can see that trap 2 here, Rocketeer, figures to lead. Um, there's not a huge amount of obvious pace in the race, plenty of mid-div runners. Shepherd's Purse might go forward from a wide draw just to try and get a position. But Rocketeer is he's drawn inside and he's a pacey horse. If we look at the instant expert, we can kind of break his record down a little bit more if my computer will consent to work. Maybe it won't. Let's just hit the refresh button here. I wanted to record it on my main computer, but I haven't got a webcam at home, so I've only got one on this laptop. This is rather frustrating. I'll just do that a second while I figure out what's going on here. Sorry about this. It's normally me that's unprofessional, but this, I assure you, is the tech. You'd already done well if you'd actually got this far with the with the recording. Production standards are at an all-time low tonight, I would suggest. So for that, you have my apologies and my appreciation of your forbearance. Let's see if we are back in business. Chelmsford, 5:15. Yeah, we look okay. Let's see if we can get the instant expert up. There we go. It's like lightning now. What was that open for? Oh, okay, we did that. Let's get rid of that. Okay, let me share my screen again after that brief, unwelcome hiatus. Share, show in stream. There we go. Right, let's go over to here. Okay, so here is the instant expert. It's a 0 to 55. We will be forgiving for the sea of rouge Not very good, many of these, or over-faced, let's say, more often than not. Talking of Rouge, by the way, did you see Rouge Vif today? Absolutely outstanding performance from with a big weight in that 2 mile handicap. It's obviously a big step up from handicaps to grade ones, but he was third in the Arkle last year on soft ground, and his trainer says he's definitely a top of the ground horse. So if it came up quick in March, he has to be a player. I mean, he's got to be re-rated about 165, 17, high 160s probably off the back of that run today. The time apparently was quick. I backed him. I backed him anti-post at 20s for the champion chase, a race where I've never had an anti-post winner. So keep that in mind. But I was, I mean, it's hard not to be mightily impressed by Rouge Vif today. That was a little off topic. Conditions, and Rocketeer has at least won a race on the all weather in this grade. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to do all forms. So I'm going to open it up a little bit, and then I'm going to put it on place, the place data. And now we've got sort of a bit more green in the window. Atiaf is the obvious one that catches the eye. So we'll have a quick look at him in a second. And Rocketeer also has a compelling each way profile, at least, is on his last winning mark as well. Indian Pursuit has dropped down the weights a heck of a long way. He's more than a stone below his last winning mark. But he's one of those that, if we look at Indian Pursuit, you can see he's actually his trainer jockey is very interesting as well. Really good record at the track, but he's had plenty of goes around this sort of mark 50-52, and he just gets beat when he probably should win. He was favourite here, favourite here. He'd be just about favourite here again, I'd say. So that's Indian Pursuit. Atiaf, excuse me, Atiaf is drawn 11, so has the widest stall of all. Dropped down the handicap a little bit. Let's have a look at his pace profile as well. Let's put that on graphic a second. And sort by draw, we can see that Atiaf is he is a wide drawn hold up horse, and that is not a favoured draw run style combination. Um, he's going to have a lot to do from there. Now, it might be that he pushes forward because there's quite a few slow starters inside, and he's going to be a fairly fancied runner. But I could easily see him having to go 4-5 wide round the turn, or drop in and ride for luck, and neither of those is optimal in such a short distance race. Meanwhile, Rocketeer on the inside, if he breaks as he normally does, he should be catch me if you can. Indian Pursuit probably will be front rank. I imagine he'll have no excuses again, but he just doesn't have a very compelling win profile. I'm sure he'll be there or thereabouts again. But Rocketeer it was an interesting one for me anyway. I'd probably be backing both Rocketeer and, for tiny money, Sassy Lassie. So those were two that were interesting. Now, one other thing that I want to cover before I terminate this session is the trainer jockey combo report. Now, if you haven't yet signed up for gold, then that's obviously absolutely fine. But that's perfectly excusable. But what is not excusable is not having a free gold account, sorry, a free Gigi's account, and taking advantage of the freeness that we offer each day. So um, while I enjoy another glug of the red, um, every day we've got free races of the day. So those are races where you've got all the gold tabs available to you as a free subscriber. And on top of that, each day we have a feature of the day. Tomorrow, the feature is the trainer jockey combo report, which is one of my favorite reports. and I'm going to show you just one horse on there now. I'm going to be so slick with this tech by 2025. Right, so let's go to trainer jockey combo report. There are a load of ways to get to the reports. This is one of them from the drop down on the race cards there. See that there? Just make sure that you're actually watching this. You are not. There we go. That's better. So let me show you that again. So there's a report drop down on the race cards, and you can get to any of the reports from there. Just click go. There's also a reports menu item. Click on that and it will show you all the reports. Oh, actually, I want to do that because I want to show you something there. So I have added today to the reports menu under trainer reports, I've added the trainer track stats potential qualifiers link. So you'll never lose that link again until next time. There wasn't anything today because we don't have any trainers at Cheltenham. Tomorrow, this one's a non-runner, we can see there, and the other one at Kelso, Claude and Goldie. Just keep an eye on the odds, but looks like it's probably not going to be a formal 10 to 1 or shorter qualifier. You might choose to bet it anyway, so it's worth having a look at. But the qualifiers, the TTS qualifiers report is now on the reports page, and you can find it under trainer form reports here. Okay, so that's that. I wanted to show you TJ Combo, so let's go there. I love TJ Combo, it's one of my favorites. There are lots of different views of it, and I have quite severe settings in terms of actual over expected and impact value. I'm not going to talk about those here. Suffice it to say, above 1 is good, below 1 not so good. The further above 1, the better. And so I want good AE and very good IV. And I want it on a reasonable sample, so I've got 25 runs here. Unsurprisingly, in the 14-day form, there is nothing. But what I want to look at is I want to look at tomorrow for a start. That's going to help. And I want to look at this guy here. You see, we've got Quinn and Jason Hart there with that Indian Pursuit chap. But I want to look at Joseph O'Brien and Shane Cross at Leopardstown. Now, they've got a remarkable record, better than 1 in 5 strike rate, 2 in 5 place rate, good profit, good each way profit, winning nearly 2.5 times as often as their peer group. And if we click the little hat, we can see that they've had plenty of winners lately. What have we got? 14 to 1 here, 12 to 1 here, 9 to 2 here. So this combo knows how to get the job done. They've got 3 tomorrow, and the one that caught my eye was the shortest price of the 3. Now I haven't looked at these top 2. I just looked at this Nordic Aurora. 10 to 1 is showing as. You've got form of 7, 8, 8. And when I see 3 numbers, particularly not very good numbers, I think handicap debut, and especially when maybe it's the Joseph O'Brien factor, but a horse with this form string making its handicap debut could be expected to be 50 to 1, 100 to 1 or whatever. And it might be that tomorrow, the pre-race market, this horse drifts greatly. But for now, he's of interest. So I want to have a look at this horse, and I hope that you can see that here. This is the race in question. It is a 10 furlong 0 to 80. It's a pretty good race, actually. Ignore this class 5 stuff up here. That's a guess on our part. The filly at the top, Melburnian. Now, I'm a big fan of this filly because the mare, Moscow Knights, is apart from being the mother of Heartbreak City, who won the Ebor and was second in the Melbourne Cup, and a couple of other good horses, as well as this one. She is also the mother of Coquelicot, which is a GG Syndicate horse that won a listed bumper last season and was second on her hurdling debut the other day, and who we have high hopes for. So I'm a big fan of Melburnian. Melburnian loves it soft, loves it round Leopardstown. 10 furlongs be sharp enough for her, I think. I wouldn't be too worried about the wide draw because she is a sort of hold up type, but she'd need them to go fast. I wanted to look at this Nordic Aurora. He's got the HC1, he's got the T2, he's got the Red 4, right? What do these things mean? HC1 means first time in a handicap, so he got that right. T2, second time with a tongue tie. Um, let's have a look at these four, this Red 4. So these are my report angles. For each report in our suite, you can define a set of parameters that are the ones of interest to you, and you can save those, and then you can get a report, a composite report that pulls all of the qualifiers from all of your reports into a single report. And not only does it put it into the report, well, let me just right. So here's report angles here. It's quite a big report because it pulls in from all of the other ones. But again, my computer's having a bit of a meltdown in the screen in one place. That's kind of hard and look for what you're looking for, but much easier to consume is within the race card. And so on this race card, we've got a few red numbers. And what you can do is if you click on this first question mark here in the header bar, if I click on that, it's going to just open those menu item, sorry, those runners where there is a non-zero report angle number. In other words, where there is a report angle. So Tony Martin, running horses back within 7 days, has a good record. That's interesting with regards to Melburnian. Um, Here we've got 3 for John Kiley's horse. The name's Jock. We've got 1 for Sharp Focus, and we've got these 4 for Nordic Aurora. Trainer first handicap at the track, 5-year record of 7 from 33. That's better than 21% win rate, better than 45% place rate, profitable to win in each way, AE and IV numbers off the charts. Trainer jockey 1-year form, 1 in 3 winners. These are, you don't need me to tell you how good these numbers are. These are terrific numbers. Now they're all very small. Actually, they're not even that small sample size. Relatively speaking, they're quite reasonable sample sizes. So um, it's not hard to see why this horse has been put in at 10s rather than 25s. It's had a break, 39 days, let's say, maybe to tighten the bolts a little bit. We can see that it was only beaten 4 lengths last time. Towards rear, kept on, never nearer. First time with a tongue tie, kept on, never nearer. I mean, this horse is very interesting. Got trap 3. It's quite a tight. I think it's a quite a tight track. It's a stiff finish because it's all uphill. It's an uphill drag to the line at Leopardstown. But I'd rather be drawn inside than outside. He's I think he's probably going. I'd be surprised if he's towards rear early from that draw and first time in a handicap. I think he's interesting. I mean, again, it's a big field. There are some good horses and some regressive looking horses in there. He's only had 3 goes. He's the one with the upside. There are probably a couple of others in there as well, but he's definitely one with upside. 10-1 is. I would be rolling the dice again. Not massive, just for a small interest bet at around 10-1. He might be a bit bigger on. Let's have a look. Oh, that Rocketeer's 4s with Bet365. That's a fair price. What were the other 2? Sassy Lassie. She's going to be a million, surely. She is a 40-1 shot generally, so you could have that. And then at Leopardstown, let's see if we can get this to work. Leopardstown, 4:49. What do you think of these non-5-minute race times? Quirky, aren't they? I actually don't mind them. I think I can see why people would take a minute to get their head around them, but the fundamental fact is there's been a lot of racing lately, and there have been a lot less race clashes, and that has to be a good thing. I'd rather have a 4:49 and be able to watch the whole race in full screen than have a 4:45 and two 4:45s and watch them in split. That doesn't work for me. Anyway, Melburnian, lots of money for her. Those report angles, that's interesting. Nordic Aurora, very quiet. So if I wanted to back Melburnian, let's say, um, I mean, 365 because I've got the sort of SP insurance there. Probably take the 11s again. I've got an extra place. I'm not getting best odds guaranteed standout price. But in the case of Nordic Aurora, where there's no, I just sit and wait because there's a good chance I get 12s or 14s in the morning. Now that may reflect on its chances of winning, but I don't want to take 10-1 now because there's no obvious truncation afoot. It could collapse overnight, but generally speaking, that's not going to happen. So that's how I would play that. I'd just be waiting for just for an interest tomorrow because I think he's far, but whether that's tomorrow or not is another question. That's that's enough. If you are still with me, then thank you very much for hanging tough through what's been a pretty moderate production. I'm just trying to get to grips with the technology so that hopefully when I do a similar session next Wednesday, it will be a touch more polished. Talking of polished, this needs polishing off. And with that, I will say thank you very much for watching and bid you adieu and bon nuit. Good luck over the weekend with your betting, and I'll speak